tragedy and resilience. Today, we witness both. As we honor those we lost, we also stand with those still fighting. Teddi Mellencamp is recovering from brain tumor surgery, and while details remain private, there's a bit of good news. Her estranged husband, Edwin Oriave, is staying strong in faith as she heals. Meanwhile, Katie Thurston is battling breast cancer, and her fiancé, Jeff Arcuri, has postponed his tour to stand by her side. We're sending them all our love and support. And now, we turn to the icons we lost today. Legends in sports, music, and beyond. Their legacies will never be forgotten. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated. Let's get started. Number 1. Greg Haugen. We lost a warrior, a fighter who defied the odds, battled giants in the ring, and lived life on his own terms. Greg Haugen, a former 3-time world champion, passed away at the age of 64. Today, we honor his legacy. Born in Auburn, Washington on August 31, 1960, Greg was introduced to boxing at just 5 years old by his father. After coming home crying one too many times, Greg learned to fight and he never stopped. His father called him Mud because of his pit bull-like toughness, and that nickname stayed with him throughout his career. Haugen's road to greatness wasn't easy, though. He worked his way up from tough man contests in Alaska to the bright lights of Las Vegas. His professional career took off quickly, remaining undefeated in his first 18 fights. But it wasn't just his skill that made him stand out, it was his grit, his heart, and his refusal to back down. In 1986, he shocked the boxing world, defeating IBF lightweight champion Jimmy Paul. An underdog who refused to be counted out, Greg became a world champion. That was just the beginning. Greg was never afraid to go into enemy territory. His rivalry with Vinny Pazienza is legendary. 3 fights that tested both men to their limits. He lost their first meeting, but came back stronger, reclaiming his title in the rematch. These wars defined him, a fighter who always found a way to rise again. Then came another iconic moment, his battle with Hector Macho Camacho. In a razor-close fight, a single deducted point made the difference. Greg Haugen was champion once again. Perhaps the fight he's most remembered for was against the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez in front of a record-breaking 132,000 fans in Mexico City. Greg, always outspoken, questioned Chavez's competition before the fight, igniting an entire nation's passion. In the ring, he faced relentless punishment, but he never quit. Afterward, in classic Haugen fashion, he joked, "I guess they were pretty tough taxi drivers." He stepped away from the sport in 1999 with a record of 40 wins, 10 losses, and 19 knockouts. Number 2, Jacques De Jongh. A legend of Australian rock has left us. Jacques De Jongh, the rhythm and bass guitarist who helped define the sound of 70s glam rock, has passed away after a battle with ill health. His contributions to music, his vibrant energy, and his passion for the craft will never be forgotten. Born in the 1950s, Jacques rose to fame as a member of the iconic glam rock band Hush, joining the group in 1976. With Keith Lamb on vocals and Jacques on guitar, Hush electrified audiences across Australia, becoming one of the biggest bands of their time. Their hits Boney Maroney and Glad All Over dominated the Aussie charts, reaching the top 10 and cementing the band's place in rock history. Jacques played on Hush's 5th and final album, Touché, which climbed to number 36 on the charts in 1977. After Hush disbanded, Jacques continued making music alongside Australian pop legend John Paul Young, further showcasing his talent and versatility. But music wasn't his only passion. Jacques later found a love for the culinary arts, becoming a renowned chef and opening his own restaurant. Yet his dedication to music never wavered. He ran a rehearsal studio, mentoring and supporting countless musicians, always giving back to the industry that had given him so much. Tributes had poured in from fans and fellow musicians, all remembering the joy and energy he brought to the stage. His influence on Australian rock is undeniable, and his legacy will live on in the music he helped create. Number 3, Linsey Alexander. The blues is more than just music. It's a story, a feeling, a legacy. And few told that story quite like Linsey Alexander, the Hoochie Man himself. A true staple of Chicago blues, Linsey wasn't just a performer, he was a storyteller, a showman, and a keeper of the blues tradition. Born on July 23, 1942 in Holly Springs, Mississippi, Linsey grew up in the heart of the blues. His family were hard-working sharecroppers struggling to make ends meet, but Linsey had something special, a passion for music. A family friend, known only as Otis, introduced him to the guitar, planting the seed for what would become a legendary career. At just 12 years old, Linsey moved to Memphis, Tennessee. It was here that he first heard the sounds that would shape him: blues, country, and the raw energy of early rock and roll. He wandered down Beale Street, soaking in the magic, watching musicians play on the sidewalks. But life wasn't easy. After his mother passed away, Linsey had to work to support himself. Yet through it all, music never left his soul. In 1959, with a heart full of dreams and a few dollars in his pocket, Linsey pawned his guitar and bought a Greyhound ticket to Chicago, following love, but finding his true calling. The Windy City, the home of electric blues, welcomed him with open arms. The Chicago blues scene was alive, and Linsey dove in head first. He played in small clubs, formed his first band, and learned from legends like Buddy Guy, A.C. Reed, and Magic Slim. Music was his passion, but it wasn't his full-time job. Yet. He worked as a car dealer, gas station attendant, and even as a Chicago police officer, but the blues was always calling. After retiring from the police force, Linsey dedicated himself to music completely, and the world took notice. His charisma, his gritty, soulful voice, and his electrifying guitar playing made him a must-see act. He became a fixture at Chicago's North Side clubs like Kingston Mines and Blues, and toured internationally, spreading the blues far and wide. In 2014, Linsey was inducted into the Chicago Blues Hall of Fame, an honor well-deserved for a man who had given so much to the blues. But his music, his energy, and his spirit will never fade. His songs will continue to fill clubs, his stories will continue to inspire, and his legacy will live on in every note of Chicago blues. Linsey once said, "I am who I am. I'm not trying to be B.B. King or Freddie either. I do the best of me of anybody in this world," and that's exactly what he did. Rest in peace, Hoochie Man. Number 4, Bruce M. Celia. A legal legend, a scholar of the law, a man of wisdom, wit, and unparalleled integrity. We remember and honor the life of Judge Bruce M. Celia today, a towering figure in American jurisprudence who left an indelible mark on the legal community. Born in Providence, Rhode Island in 1934, Bruce Marshall Celia's journey to the federal bench began with a deep passion for words, justice, and service. A graduate of Harvard College and Harvard Law School, he quickly established himself as a brilliant legal mind. He was the first Jewish judge to ascend to the federal bench in Rhode Island, a testament to his perseverance and dedication. Judge Celia's career was nothing short of extraordinary. Appointed by President Ronald Reagan in 1982, he served on the U.S. District Court before being elevated to the first U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. He also presided as Chief Judge of the U.S. Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court of Review. Over 4 decades, his rulings shaped American law in ways that continue to impact us today. To those privileged to work alongside him, Judge Celia was more than just a judge. To those privileged to work alongside him, Judge Celia was more than a judge. He was a mentor and a teacher. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who clerked for him in the late 90s, recalled how his meticulous writing style and extensive vocabulary left a lasting impression. Words like gallimaufry and malevolent were more than just flourishes. They were symbols of his dedication to precision and the art of legal writing. But Judge Celia's contributions extended beyond the courtroom. He was deeply committed to his community, serving on the boards of Rhode Island Hospital, Lifespan Health System, and several educational institutions. His influence reached far beyond the bench, touching the lives of countless students, lawyers, and fellow judges. Colleagues, friends, and family remember him not only for his intellect, but also for his kindness, humility, and unwavering ethics. Senator Jack Reed called him a man of great wisdom and high ethical standards, and his successor, Judge O. Rogers Thompson, spoke of the enormous shoes she had to fill in his wake. Number 5. E. Seymour. Legends aren't just remembered for the games they won, but for the lives they touched. Today, we honor a true icon of college baseball, E. Seymour, the winningest coach in the history of Oklahoma Sooners baseball, who passed away at the age of 93. Born in Haskell County, Oklahoma in 1931, E. Seymour's love for baseball started at an early age. A dual-sport athlete of Northeastern State, he played both baseball and basketball before embarking on a coaching career that would cement his legacy in the sport. Before his time at Oklahoma, Seymour led Bacone Junior College to a national championship in 1967, setting the stage for what would become a historic coaching career. In 1968, Seymour took the helm of the Oklahoma Sooners baseball program. Over the next 22 seasons, he transformed the team into a powerhouse, leading the Sooners to 7 Big 8 conference titles and an astounding 5 straight College World Series appearances from 1972 to 1976. His leadership set the gold standard for the program. With 851 wins, Coach Seymour remains the winningest coach in OU baseball history, a testament to his dedication and excellence. But beyond the victories, his players remember him as a mentor, a leader, and a man who shaped them far beyond the game. As Coach Skip Johnson beautifully put it, when you think about OU baseball, you think about E. Seymour and the countless lives he changed. He reminded me a lot of my dad and the values and standards he held. I try to instill those in my players today. Just last year, the Sooners came together to retire his legendary number 24 jersey, a long overdue honor for a man who built the very foundation of OU baseball. His impact will forever be etched into the walls of L. Dale Mitchell Park. Number 6. Ken Rosenthal. Ken Rosenthal, a name many may not recognize, but a legacy that millions experience every day. The man behind one of America's most beloved bakery cafes, Panera Bread, has left us at the age of 81. Today, we honor his journey, a story of vision, perseverance, and a passion for bringing people together over great bread. Ken didn't start out as a baker, though. In fact, in the mid-1980s, he was running a women's clothing store in Chesterfield, Missouri, with his wife Linda. Baking wasn't in his plans until a conversation with his brother changed everything. He learned about a bakery in San Francisco specializing in sourdough bread. Intrigued but hesitant, Ken decided to see it for himself. That trip sparked an idea that would change his life and the dining industry forever. With no background in baking, Ken trained under Roger Brunello, a master of sourdough, and in 1987, he opened the first St. Louis bread company in Kirkwood, Missouri. It was more than just a bakery. It was a place where the smell of fresh bread welcomed you, where neighbors gathered, where quality and craftsmanship mattered. Success didn't come easy, though. Ken and Linda put everything on the line, selling their clothing business and diving into this new venture head first. Waking up at 2 a.m. to bake bread became his new routine, but that hard work paid off. By 1993, the St. Louis Bread Company had grown to 20 locations. Ken saw an opportunity to take his bakery to new heights, and in 1993, he sold his company to Au Bon Pain for $24 million. Little did he know that just a few years later, it would transform into something bigger, Panera Bread. Under its new name, Panera grew exponentially. Today, it has over 2,200 locations nationwide, making it one of the largest fast casual chains in the country. Ken's dedication to quality and community laid the foundation for what Panera stands for today. Following his passing, Panera shared this message. Ken's passion and vision established the rich heritage that Panera has been built on for more than 35 years. He leaves behind a tremendous legacy.